Okay, what if I told you that some really serious health problems, I'm talking kidney failure, major hormonal issues, could be tackled with something as simple as a little herbal pouch you just place on your navel? It sounds pretty wild, I know. But today, we're going to dive into some truly remarkable case studies that look at this exact idea, where an ancient theory crashes right into some of our biggest modern medical challenges. So, here's the game plan. First, we'll see just how different the problems were that they tried to fix with this one pouch. Then we're going to peek inside that pouch, metaphorically, and unpack the ancient theory behind it all. After that, we'll get to the good stuff, the evidence. We're talking rapid turnarounds and some seriously unexpected benefits. And finally, we'll take a step back and try to figure out what it all means.
All right, let's start with the problems themselves. And you'll see the researchers here didn't pick easy ones. Nope. They went after three very different conditions that are, frankly, often a real nightmare to manage with today's medicine.
First on the list is amenorrhea. This is when menstruation just stops for 3 months or even longer. And this is way more than just a missed period. It can be a huge red flag for hormonal chaos and is obviously a major concern for anyone thinking about their reproductive health. Next up, something completely different: acute kidney injury. This is a life or death situation. It's when your kidneys, your body's amazing filtering system, just suddenly give up and shut down. Patients often end up in the ICU, totally dependent on dialysis to even survive. And the third condition is chronic menorrhagia. This is the opposite problem of the first one. We're talking abnormally heavy or long-lasting menstrual bleeding. And it can be absolutely draining, impacting a person's energy, their job, their social life, just their overall quality of life. So let's recap. You've got a hormonal shutdown. You've got total organ failure, and you've got chronic bleeding. I mean, what in the world could possibly connect these three things? Well, the answer proposed in these studies is kind of shockingly simple. It's an external herbal pouch, placed right on the belly button. That's it. No pills, no shots. Just a pouch. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. A pouch on your skin is going to fix your kidneys? It sounds a little bit like magic, right? But hold on, because there's a really fascinating and very old theory driving this whole thing. To really get how this therapy could even be a thing, we need to do a quick dive into the logic behind it. The whole thing hinges on this core idea called taste-organ correspondence. The easiest way to think about it is like a specific key for a specific lock. In traditional Chinese medicine, the actual taste of an herb, whether it's sweet or sour or salty, is believed to be the key that directs its action to a very specific organ system in the body. This chart lays it all out perfectly. You see how it works? The theory goes that a sour taste from an herb like dogwood homes in on the liver. A pungent taste, like you get from dried ginger, goes right for the digestive system. And, this is the important one for our kidney case, a salty taste is thought to directly nourish and support the kidney and bladder system. All of a sudden, you can see how they start choosing their ingredients, right? So this isn't just pulling herbs out of a hat. The theory leads to a really logical 4-step process for creating a formula. It's a kind of personalized medicine, really. You look at the patient's specific symptoms, figure out which organ system is out of whack, and then you pick herbs with the right taste to target that system, and also the right energy, like a warming herb for a cold condition, to get everything back in balance. Okay, so that's the theory. It's a cool system, but the million-dollar question is, did it actually do anything? Let's get into the evidence from these case studies, and we're going to start with an absolutely jaw-dropping turnaround that was reported. So let's meet our first case, a 19-year-old woman whose kidneys had totally failed. Just try to picture this. For 15 straight days, she hadn't produced a single drop of urine. She was completely dependent on dialysis, and her doctors were basically saying her future was either long-term dialysis or a kidney transplant. A spontaneous recovery? They called it unlikely. But after they started the herbal pouch therapy, the reported timeline is just stunning. In just 23 hours, less than a single day, she produced urine for the first time in over 2 weeks. By day 24, she was completely off dialysis. And by day 32, her kidney function tests were back in the normal range, and she was discharged from the hospital. And just look at the hard numbers. These are the critical lab markers for kidney health. BUN and creatinine are basically waste products in your blood that healthy kidneys filter out. Hers were sky high, and they dropped by 75%. But the eGFR, that's the big one. It measures how well the kidneys are filtering. Hers went from a 15, which is severe kidney failure, all the way up to 81, which is well into the healthy range.
That's a 440% improvement. Just incredible.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. The results didn't just stop with the one big problem they were trying to solve. The studies also found this whole cascade of other positive effects, suggesting the therapy was having a much wider systemic impact on the body.
For example, in this study of 16 women with menstrual problems, sure, their cycles got better, but look at what else they reported. A full 75%, three-quarters of them, just felt a general sense of enhanced well-being. And right behind that, more energy, better sleep, even a better complexion and a more stable mood.
And we're not just talking about vague feelings either. The reports noted some really concrete physical changes you could actually see. Things like swelling in the legs going down, better circulation so their hands and feet were warmer, and even changes to skin health, like the fading of dark spots on the face.
I think this quote from one of the patients just sums it up perfectly. She says, "Not only did my cycles become regular, but I felt better overall. My energy improved, I slept better, and even my mood was more stable." It just paints such a clear picture of an effect that went way beyond just targeting one single symptom.
So, the next big question is, did this stuff last, or was it just a temporary fix? Well, for some of these patients, the results seem to have been impressively long-lasting. One man with chronic kidney disease was reported to be stable for more than 7 years after treatment. And another young patient's relief from painful periods was still holding up at her 5-year follow-up.
Now, after hearing all that, it is so easy to get carried away. I mean, these stories are genuinely remarkable. But, and this is a big but, if we're going to have a clear, honest conversation about this, we have to talk about the limitations. We have to ask the tough questions about this kind of research.
To their credit, the authors of these studies are very clear about this. These were not huge, gold standard clinical trials. They were small case studies. That means there was no control group, no one getting a fake placebo pouch to compare against. And because of that, you simply can't prove causation. We don't know for sure if it was the herbs or the placebo effect, or even if these people would have gotten better on their own.
So, where does that leave us? Well, these studies are not the final answer, not by a long shot. But what they are is a set of really compelling clues. They leave us with this big, provocative question. Could ancient wisdom, if we put it to the test with modern, rigorous science, actually offer some new answers for our toughest health problems? It's a fascinating thought, and it definitely suggests there's something here worth exploring.